Hello guys, and welcome back to another cold episode. There's a new Forbidden and Limited list for the Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel game. Don't know why I said it like that, but I did. I'm going to quickly talk about it. I've already seen this. This is not spoilers. So we're just going to talk about it and discuss it in its entirety. At least from my viewpoint. Starting off with the cards to be forbidden, Pot of Prosperity. It's a great card to be banned. This card arguably is more powerful than Pot of Greed. You could make that argument. I would not. I think Pot of Greed is more powerful. I think seeing two cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is way more valuable than seeing specific cards. However, in a lot of decks, this card is more powerful. And most notably, I think everyone is thinking of Tenpai when it comes to Pot of Prosby, because they can kill through the limitation of damage from Prosby, which makes it significantly more powerful. Right? The fact that you can still OTK through the Prosperity half damage is quite substantial. However, even with that being said, I don't necessarily think that this is changing anything in terms of Tenpai power. Tenpai still does the same thing. It's still just as consistent. It's maybe slightly less consistent because now it doesn't have as high roll of hands where it's like, cool, I drew the Prosby. You now have to interact with this because if you don't, I kill you, kind of thing. Because I can just see like the droplet that I needed or the Harpy's Feather Duster or something along those lines. So it's fine. Moving on to the limitations, there are three. We have Dimension Shifter. This should be at 0. Fairy Tale Snow. This should be at 0. And Psyframe Gear Gamma. This should be at 0. Just kidding. Psyframe Gear Gamma should honestly remain at 2. I think it's fantastic at 2. I'm going to talk about this one first. I think Gamma, I understand why Gamma is limited. However, Gamma is one of the few cards that interacts favorably against Maxi, against Tenpai, and against pretty much any like one card starter, where you actually remove the card from the field, which creates much more advantage. It requires you to play a brick. It requires you to not have it in your, or if you're going first, it's just like disadvantageous, except for against Maxi. So for the most part, I'm fine with Gamma. It does get frustrating when like you get Gamma for your whole life savings and you can't do anything. But I think it's, for the most part, okay. And I think it's healthy. It being limited is most frustrating for me. Fairy Tale Snow is absolutely obscenely absurd. Having access to one of it is too much. Dimension Shifter is a card that no one really enjoys. It is a lingering floodgate, meaning if you draw the out to the card, but it's already resolved, you can't do anything about it. You just have to already have the out immediately in your hand, which is not exactly very fun to deal with, similar to the Roach. On top of that, it is used in a lot of different decks against a lot of other different decks. It can entirely invalidate turns from opponents, and Tenpai can also play it, so, you know, might as well put it to one. Realistically, again, it should just be banned. It's not a healthy card for Yu-Gi-Oh! The decks that can use it tend to abuse it, and not in a healthy way, and it at 1 just doesn't make sense. I get, like, from Konami's perspective, putting it to 1, because there's no reason to just immediately ban it and get so many UR crafting points back to the people. But, I mean, it's a card that should either be at 3 or at 0. You should either expect to see it or not have it. And I think you should pretty much not have it. It at 1 is just sacky and frustrating. Semi-limitations. Lightning Storm. This changes nothing. I don't know why it's here. The reasoning behind this is it's a nerf to Tenpai. In theory. In practice, it's not. Because if you need any card that is like Lightning Storm, there are a ton of options still available. For back row removal, Harpy's Feather Duster, Heavy Storm, and Red Reboot all still exist. And even with that, you still have access to Twin Twister and Cosmic Cyclone as additional back row removal. If you really, really need back row removal, there's a ton of options available to you. If you need monster removal, Raigeki and Dark still exist. So changing the singular Lightning Storm into one of those other cards doesn't really change much. Yes, you're less likely to see specifically Lightning Storm, which does kind of hinder some hands occasionally, but honestly, it's not going to change much. And the problem with Tenpai is very clearly the field spell and the fact that you can't interact with them. If you can interact with them, it's a lot more easily beatable. But when they activate the field spell, and then normal summon Pydra, and then special summon Chandra, and you're not really able to do anything about that, it becomes really difficult. Lightning Storm is just kind of like part of the staples that they can run. This could also be triple tack. This could be, I was going to say evenly matched. It can't be evenly matched. I'm lying to you. Again, all of those like board breakers. It could be Ultimate Slayer. Like, that's not really that big of a stretch, right? There's a ton of different options for them to just play, because basically it's based on how powerful the staples are, and the staples are very powerful. So yeah, this doesn't really change anything. So it's here. Sure. We also have some unlimits with Trickstar Lightstage. This card was at 2 for like a year and didn't do anything. This could have come to 3 at like any time. And Chronograph Sorcerer, which was previously at 1 and is now at 3 for reasons I don't know. You could just ban this card. I don't like him. But also, I recognize that he doesn't do anything, so yeah, he could be free. More pendulums. Hooray. But that's pretty much it. All things considered, it's a fine ban list, but it's not insane. I like seeing less Shifter, less Snow, less Prosperity, but these other limitations and changes just don't really matter, so hooray. Anyway, that's going to be it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye.